I have done the turkey for years. Cody used to like my turkey until he had Robyn's, and I guess hers is that much. That just sounds.
Hello everyone, welcome to Happily Ever Reality. Today we are talking about this Sister Wives episode that is titled Talk Back Part 1, and it aired right after season 18 was all wrapped up. If you missed these episodes, you should definitely go back and watch them. There's 2 of the Talk Back episodes, and I believe there's 2 Look Back episodes, and I really enjoyed them. In this one we're going to talk about today, it is where they looked back at episode 1 of season 18. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'll explain it a little bit more. Each wife watches it separately. They're at their own homes and they sit down and watch the episode and they talk about parts of it. With the exception of Robyn, she is there with Cody and they watch it together. So we're going to talk about that. I do want to let you know I'm not going to recap it in order. It's not made for me to really easily recap. Instead, I just want to focus on a few things that really stood out to me when I was watching this. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Robyn and how unhappy she seems. Everyone else seems to be in a pretty good mood, but it is clear from Robyn's facial expressions right away that she is not happy to be looking back on this episode. And that doesn't surprise me. I think the person that comes off the worst when you are watching Sister Wives is Robyn. So she probably doesn't enjoy looking back on any of the episodes that she was in. I'm going to put in a clip here, and they showed this right at the beginning of the show. So you know right away that Robyn is not happy. Go ahead and watch Robyn and Cody as they talk about this episode.
First episode of the season and discuss it with each other.
All I'm saying is that this is not the face of a happy person. So during the show, they're going to do flashbacks to episode 1 of season 18, but they're also doing some of those viewer questions. And the very first question is about Cody's hair. And that didn't surprise me. Cody's hair is a huge part of the show, much bigger than hair probably should be, but you can't help it. It has a life of its own. And during this part, when they're talking about his hair, we find out that it is Robyn that introduced Cody to the curly girl method, and that is why we have the curls that are going on this season.
Ashley, my hair's been 5 different ways since the show started. And then I got the curls.
And then I
right.
taught him how to make his curls.
Yeah, how to scrunch.
Scrunch the curl.
Honestly, and this is my opinion, the curls are not the worst of Kody Brown's hairstyles that he's had on the show. I'm just going to put a picture up here of one of the ones I consider to be the worst hairstyle. Yeah, so if you're looking up at that picture, you can see it's longer, it's coming close to his shoulders, it's dry, frizzy. I don't know. I just can't believe they're on a show and he can't go and get good hair products or figure out how to have his hair done in a way that works well for him. And I understand trends come and go, and so sometimes you look back at a haircut and go, oh, that was awful, but at the time I loved it. There has never been a time that this hair has really worked for anyone or ever been trendy. So that's just my feeling. That is Cody's worst hair to me. But you guys can let me know in the comments what you think about Cody's hair. Another part of this episode that stood out for me was the part where they talked about the holidays and the scene where Janelle is over at Cody and Robyn's house and she's telling them that, you know, the kids are going to get together at a rental for the holidays. And I'm going to put a clip in here to remind you guys of what exactly I'm talking about.
But you're talking about everybody going to some neutral zone. This is my house.
Okay.
So if you can remember that episode and what was going on then, it's basically what went on the last few seasons. Some of the children did not feel welcomed over at Robyn's house. They had the opportunity to extend a rental and just go there for the holidays. And honestly, it seemed like a really good idea. If the kids weren't comfortable going to Robyn's, meeting somewhere else to have the holidays, why not? You know, it seems like a good idea, or at least that's my perspective. But clearly Cody doesn't think so because he has a home. To me, it almost sounds ridiculous. Of course they want to go somewhere that's a neutral spot, but Cody doesn't see it that way. And they brought it up in this talk back. And what ends up happening is Janelle brings up the way Kody says his house. So I'm going to put in the clip of Janelle in this talkback episode.
His house, because he doesn't have other houses. It doesn't matter where the rest of his lives live. He has his house.
You might be wondering why I'm pointing this out, and I have a reason. Sometimes I feel like as a fan and a viewer of the show, I get caught up in semantics. I get caught up in what Kody says, and then I wonder, do the wives and kids think this is a big deal, or is it just something that viewers of the show notice? And a big example of this is when Kody talks about the kids and he says Robyn's kids. He doesn't say Robyn's kids, he says our kids, but then he'll say like Janelle's kids or Christine's kids. We've all picked up on that difference in the way he talks. And I always wondered, like, is it a big deal to them? Do they even notice? But we see here that they do notice, and Janelle noticed that Robyn's house is his house. So yeah, just sort of confirms he does, he has favoritism, and you can tell even in the simplest of things, like in the way he's talking about them, where he prefers to be and who he prefers to be with. Another thing that I noticed in this talk back wasn't just that Robyn was unhappy, but there seemed to be a little bit of tension between Kody and Robyn when they would talk about certain things. And I think a part of it, or at least this is my perspective, Robyn seemed unhappy going into it. So she was already just unhappy when she sat down. But there were a few times you could tell she wasn't happy with what Kody was saying or what was being said on the episode that they were watching. I'm going to put in a clip here of them sitting on the couch talking, and Kody says something that she doesn't agree with.
Wait, whoa, stop. Sister wife?
Yeah.
You need to stop making this about
Wife, sorry.
sister wives.
Okay, I know. Yeah, well.
So you can see there that Robyn disagrees with whatever Kody has been talking about. And what I thought was interesting was, one, Kody is able to listen and be calm and hear what she has to say, which is something we haven't seen from Kody as much, specifically back in season 17 and 16. I think he's been better in season 18, but I feel like he often would get combative when people would disagree with him. But here in this scene, he's really actually able to listen to her. And she makes a good point. He is blaming the sister wives and their relationships on the ending of this family as he knew it. And she's basically saying, no, each wife individually has a relationship with you. So I agree with what Robyn was saying there. But if you watch Robyn's face, and she seems so unhappy, and then as it continues on, and I'm going to put some video up here for you to see, but I'm going to cut out the audio. But if you watch her face, this is someone, in my opinion, that's not only not happy to be doing this show, I think she is tired of all of this. I think she has gotten, a lot of the blame has came her way for everything going down the way it did. And I think she is over it. I think Robyn, based on this talkback, would probably prefer not to be on the show anymore. That's just how I feel. You guys, of course, can let me know down in the comments. Another thing that was brought up during this talkback that I really was happy they brought up was Kody as a father. And there's a part where Janelle talks about how one of the reasons she stayed with Kody was because he was a really engaged dad and he was a good father. And once that changed, she really couldn't see a relationship with him anymore. And during this talkback, Kody has a response for that. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's absolutely infuriating. It is just another one of those things that Kody says that makes absolutely no sense. I'm going to put the clip in here.
Do you want to be an engaged father?
Oh, it'd be nice if she'd make it easy for me to be engaged, but she separated me from it.
Do you want to be an engaged father?
Of course I do.
So let's just start with how annoying Robyn was right there. She was wanting Kody to just say, yes, I want to be an engaged dad. But of course, he was going to open up with excuses right away. She got him to give in and say what she wanted. Yes, he wants to be an engaged father. But you heard him. Janelle wasn't making it easy. He can't be an engaged father if Janelle isn't making it easy for him to engage with his adult children who all have their own homes, cell phones. I'm sure they have social media they could be contacted on, which, is probably the least personal way to contact someone. But my point is, there were plenty of ways for Kody to contact them, but he goes ahead and he starts off putting that blame all on Janelle. But I'm going to throw in a little bit more of what Kody says here.
I mean, sure, I probably have some relationship issues with my kids, but more than likely, a lot of that relationship issue is the representation that a mother makes to her children about their father.
Now, I just want to start out by saying that parental alienation is completely real, but it's just not what is going on in this situation. Kody can call these kids and have a relationship with them without Janelle or Christine or Meri being present because most of them are adults. Truly and Savannah are the only ones that aren't. So the relationships can be done without the mothers being involved at all. So Kody just sounds ridiculous. It just doesn't make any sense. I would have thought by the time the talk back was being filmed and they were rewatching these, he would have realized this wasn't a good excuse for not being the dad that he should be, but he's still saying it. At what point does he realize that the mothers really don't have to be involved with these adult children and with the relationships that he has with him? I don't know. I just couldn't believe he's still going on with that excuse. Another thing that was brought up in this talk back was the relationship between Meri and Christine. And I've said this in my last few videos where I've recapped the show and when I watch the one-on-ones. I really hope one day there is a place for Meri in Janelle and Christine's life. And maybe she's not someone they're super close to. Maybe they just do family reunions once a year or, do some sort of get-togethers every now and then. But I do think it would be really cool if we could see Meri have a part in their lives, because I feel like Meri's sort of out there alone. And I think if she heals from some of what she's done and she works on her relationships with some of the kids and Christine and Janelle, and Kody is not in the picture and Cody's not a part of it anymore, maybe there could be a real relationship there just for the sake of, the family and the kids all still staying close. So I'm rooting for that. That's what I would like to have happen. And Meri talks about it in this talk back. I'm putting a clip in here, and this is Meri talking about the good memories that she has with Christine.
I feel sad that, we won't have those again. I hope that Christine really does look at those moments with at least a little bit of fondness,
So I just think time does heal things. And with Kody out of the picture, maybe they will one day, or Christine will one day have a relationship with Meri. And maybe one day Janelle will as well. There was another part of this talk back that I really, really enjoyed them bringing up. And that was the time that Christine met Kody and talked to him about spending the holidays with Isabel and Truly. And all Kody worried about was when they were going to get their COVID test. I'm going to put a clip in here to remind you of that scene in case you've forgotten.
For a few days between Christmas and New Year's.
Can you guys test in Utah?
So even though you had COVID and everything, you still want us to test?
So Kody is getting the chance to spend the holidays with his kids, and you think he would be thrilled, but he is just worried about the COVID test. And Christine asks him, you still want them to test? And he says, yes, because Aurora still hasn't had COVID. And I remember watching that when it aired and being like, is this real? Are you kidding me? You're still going to go on and on about these COVID tests. There are so many ways now to do at-home COVID tests, and I'm pretty sure at the time of that episode being filmed, there were as well. He's still going on about this, and it was brought up during the talk back. This is what Christine has to say about it.
I'm really glad I get to see my kids again over Christmas. That's going to be cool. But no, what he did was bring up freaking COVID.
So Christine basically felt how a lot of us felt when Kody responded that way. But what's interesting about the talk back is we actually get to hear what Robyn says to Kody as they watch this scene. And Robyn says, you were just trying to protect Aurora. But it doesn't really surprise me that Robyn responded that way. What was interesting to me was to actually look at Kody as he's just finished watching this and as Robyn is talking to him. Watch his face and watch the way he looks. Robyn continues on and says, you weren't a bad guy. But what I want you to watch is Kody's face as she's saying it to him.
Kody, you were just trying to protect Aurora. You weren't trying to be a bad person.
I sort of wonder if Kody reflects on this and does realize that he didn't say anything about the kids visiting him. He didn't seem to want to see them. His response to Christine saying they could spend a few days with him over the holidays was he found an obstacle to it. He found something to prevent it from happening. Instead of saying, oh, that's great, I'm excited, I'd still like them to maybe do a COVID test just because Aurora hasn't had it, but we'll work it out. That would have been a response of someone who was excited and saw an obstacle but wanted to get past it. The way Kody responded to Christine made it sound like he was almost looking for an obstacle, something that would prevent them from visiting. And I wonder now if he sees that part of that episode and realizes it made him look like he didn't want to see his kids. So I'm going to throw in another clip of Christine talking about that scene and what she thought Kody would do. But that is it for this video. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click like and subscribe. I hope you come back to Happily Ever Reality.
I thought he was going to be happy to see his kids on Thanksgiving Day. And instead, he starts talking about himself again.